The spooky month has arrived, and the Switch brings a lot of treats and a few tricks. We've compiled a list of the best games coming this month to the Nintendo hybrid platform, and it's a pretty good list. Obviously, Pokemon is still 1 month away, and our good friends from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be descending in 2 months, but Gabe, October has quite a bit, and it carries throughout the entire month.
Yeah, a ton of great games. Some of this we've kind of already played, so I'm going to be excited to talk about those. And I don't know if you want to get started right off the bat here, because the month starts off very strongly with what is, in my opinion, probably the strongest game of the list. So why don't I just get it out of the way? Mega Man 11, I have played the game to completion. By the time you're watching this video, the game's out. Go get it on eShop. It's very, very good. I enjoyed it. It brought Mega Man to new fans by making things a little bit easier, but also more interesting with the different gameplay mechanics. And everyone knows what Mega Man 11 is, so I don't got to talk about too much about what the game is. But I overall think it's like, this is a solid 8 out of 10 Mega Man game for me. And I think it paves the way for what is to come with Mega Man, because I do think they're going to make more of them. Hopefully this sells well, and I have a feeling it will. But I absolutely love Mega Man. I know you played some of it as well. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's super awesome. It's $30, October 2nd, so it does start the month off right. Do you think that, because we have talked about the fatigue of like side-scrollers and pixel games, and obviously the graphical style here is a little different, but do you think for people that are a little burned out on that, like is Mega Man 11 fresh enough and polished enough to still be worth the price and the play?
A lot of those side-scrolling games are of a different caliber than Mega Man. Mega Man, to me, is so iconic that it kind of rises above that, and it does things differently enough. So many of those side-scrolling games are way more family friendly and oriented towards casual gamers. Mega Man's still pretty hardcore. There's still some difficulty there that separates it from the pack. I love Mega Man.
Yeah, I was surprised you said you thought it was not. Like an easier it was an easier Mega Man because they had talked about they wanted to make it super tough or whatever. And 9 and 10 were pretty tough.
This is easier than 9 and 10.
Yeah, I guess that's that's a good thing just in general. And
it's not easy by any means. It's just easier. Right. Yeah.
Right. And do you think the bosses, to me, that's the biggest defining factor? Is the group of bosses here a memorable group? Is it a really fun group?
Yeah, all the boss fights are unique, and they always look. If they try to nail anything over there when Mega Man games are happening, it's the boss fights. The levels can be hit and miss. Sometimes they'll be a little too long, or there'll be way too many instant kill sections in this game in particular. But the boss fights they absolutely nail, and they did a good job with this. The post game, well, not post game, the Dr. Wily stuff might not be as strong in this one as it was in past games, but yeah, I still think it's a great game.
Well, very cool. So that's Gabe's big one from the month. Super Mario Party is definitely my most anticipated title, and that releases on October the 5th, full price $60, and it looks worth it. They're packing it with a bunch of different modes. We have seen the cooperative mode. We've obviously seen the traditional board game mode that is returning to glory as far as we know. We've seen the full roster of characters. They've added these more strategic dice blocks. They have a little bit of an online thing. It's not the full mode, but there is online play. And the early review out of Famitsu was incredibly positive. They all complained about not an option to sort of speed up the pace, but the actual content that was there, everyone was kind of gushing over.
Yeah, I want to get into the multiplayer stuff. I want to see how that's going to work. The online stuff is what I'm talking about here, because it's new for the franchise. They've never really done something like this. And while it's not exactly what we hope, I still think there's going to be value there, and there's going to be fun to be had. So that's something that I'm very, very interested in seeing how it's going to turn out.
Right, and then you've got the double Switch play with Toad's Rec Room that I'm excited to check out. And just in general, how all the boards play will be fun. Are there any bigger boards? We've seen some smaller sized ones, and just learning and picking the dice block and the characters that give you that sort of risk reward, or if you want to go a little more neutral. I'm super excited for this one. I hope that it does bring Mario Party back to glory, because in the olden days, 2 decades ago, which is crazy to say, but Mario Party was one of my favorite franchises and one of my favorite titles. So if this can return, near that, it's going to be just huge for the Switch as an evergreen title, and I can't wait to play it. So that one's out in a couple of days, and we will have plenty of coverage from there. Gabe, let's go to a game that was great back on the last generation of consoles, Mark of the Ninja. The remastered version is coming October the 9th for $20. It is side-scrolling, but this is got to be instantly one of the best indie titles on Switch the day it comes out.
Yeah, side-scrolling games have found a home on Nintendo Switch for better or worse. Sometimes you get really cool ones like this, and other times you get some that aren't as cool. But the unique aspect about this one is this is like stealth based. You're not like just like trying to get through the level the way that you would imagine with side scrolling games. You got to be a ninja, Zach. How good of a ninja are you? Are you a good ninja?
Fantastic. I beat the whole game when it came out. Initially, I played it on XBLA. It's fantastically fun. It's made by Clay. It's got great style. Those are the developers who you probably know from Don't Starve. This is a masterwork in how to do a stealth game that is fun, that is challenging but not frustrating. If you haven't played it, it comes with the DLC, $20. Like it's totally worth it. They have upped the visual quality, even though the game already has a great art style to it. So this is absolutely just going to be a gem this month and for Switch. And then we move to another former indie title that maybe it's not as much of a gem, but some people definitely herald it as such. Child of Light Ultimate Edition releases on October the 11th for $19.99 as well. This is a UbiArts title, or UbiArts title, and it's very good. RPG action with a lot of storybook charm and a pretty interesting battle system that I feel harkens back to old school games, but brings in like a little bit of its own flair to deliver something that is fun. And the main, for me, it was the main point of attraction to this title.
Yeah, the it's still turn-based, but, you know, Zach, there was that, like, leak that Child of Light 2 may be in development, so I want to support this game, like, especially given that it's an UbiArts game, and it's so beautiful, just like Valiant Hearts was, which is kind of like a brother/sister game to me, to that game, even though they're quite different. They continue to bring that beauty, the hand-drawn beauty, and I would love to see another one of those as well. That was a sadder game. Child of Light is a way more serene and pleasant experience, but it's still really fun, and for that price, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's pretty darn cool, and I don't know if, you know, supporting this does anything, but hey, I would love for Ubisoft to bring more and more games to the platform. From there, we'll go to another RPG, this one being brought over from handheld platforms. It's The World Ends With You Final Remix, hitting Switch on October 12th for $49.99. This is an awesome game. It is incredibly eccentric, but that is where its charm, its style, and its worthiness really comes from. It's so different, and I even loved it as someone who's not a traditional JRPG fan. It does not include Pro Controller support, so I want to point that out. It can be played with the touchscreen or with the Joy-Cons, but if you have not had a chance to dip your toes into this world, I highly recommend that you do.
Yeah, and I suspect that a lot of people watching maybe didn't have a chance to play this when it originally came out. Zach, 2007, that was quite a long time ago. I have terrible luck with handheld devices, so even back then, like, I lost mine, and I was never able to finish the game, but I have played it a little bit, and you know how I love my JRPGs, Zachary. You know that's the genre I'm all about. I'm going to get The World Ends With You Final Remix on Nintendo Switch, and I hope to have a ton of fun with this one on the go.
Yeah, it's really cool. I beat the whole game back on DS. It's very active. You're using a lot of different powers and abilities and strokes and movements, and I just found it to be like very... It's just not traditional, really, in any way. The combat is very atypical, and that is alluring and exciting, and even the storyline is just really kind of... I would say it more is like a Kingdom Hearts-esque thing where it's a little bit like crazy and off the wall, but does have like these real moody and kind of deep elements and concepts behind it, and the music's really cool. So
you might not agree here, but Neku kind of looks like you.
Hey, I think he's a cool dude. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I don't know why. His like hair and his physique, he looks like you to me.
I am not complaining at all. I think that sounds pretty good. All right, so we are halfway through the best, biggest games of the month, and we're going to pause for a little bit of fun. Gabe, we're going to call out a game that we are excited for that isn't, you know, maybe on everyone's radar, and I'm going to let you go first.
Zach, you know I recently played a bunch of Valkyria Chronicles 4. We did the unboxing, we did the preview, and we talked about it quite a bit. But, Zach, did you know the original was coming to Nintendo Switch very soon? On the 16th, Valkyria Chronicles makes its way to Nintendo Switch. I know you played that one a lot. I know you enjoyed that one, Zach. So tell us a little bit about your thoughts here.
Valkyria Chronicles is very old, and it arrives after Valkyria Chronicles 4. Valkyria Chronicles, though, a very cool game. It does, again, a just totally different style of RPG combat. This one far more tactical and far more active. You are moving around the battlefield with limited movement bars and action bars, and trying to establish better lines of sight and take out opponents on the battlefield.
I have a question.
I feel like the game got way more convoluted as it went on. From what I've seen and heard about Valkyria Chronicles 4 from you, maybe Valkyria Chronicles is a more pure experience, and it's available for $20 or $15 if you purchased VC4.
Yeah, and my question for you is going to be, are you the type of player that, in case people don't know, in Valkyria Chronicles, there's like permadeath. If you lose one of your like squad members, like they're gone. If you see that the battle,
you have to roll with it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
If you see things aren't maybe going your way, like, do you like turn it off or something and just like restart?
Like if it's the first hour of the game and I'm learning it, yeah. But from there, no, you gotta. But half the fun of something like this is just seeing how you either royally screw up or are able to save the day. I will note that they did do a remastered version of the original Valkyria a couple of years ago on other platforms. This is not that. This is straight up the original. So it's not going to look probably anywhere near as pretty as 4. But it, like I said, it could be in some ways a purer experience.
Sure.
All right, so my pick is going to be Mutant Football League, which is a bit of an oddity. I've never played Mutant Football League, but I'm very excited to get a football game on the Switch. The fact that we did not get Madden this year, the fact that they don't seem very interested in bringing Madden, bums me out majorly. But Mutant Football League Dynasty Edition finally hits on October 30th for $30, and it could be a really fun time. It's got a lot of kookiness. It has sort of that NFL Blitz charm to it, comboing in with a whole lot of demons and insane creatures, and there's even parts where the refs can attack, which I'm all about that. So I'm definitely going to give that a go, and it may be fun to check out as we head into Halloween on the 30th.
Yeah, I don't have the interest for this one that you do, but I think you want to attack the refs. You don't want the refs to attack you, Zach.
That's true. Very good point. All right. Yeah. We bring you back to the second half of our regularly scheduled broadcast, and we'll pick up with LEGO DC Supervillains on October 16th. This, of course, is a full-price title and brings, yet again, LEGO Day and Date to Switch. WB and Traveler Tales, they just, I guess, know how to do it right. So you are getting the newest LEGO game, Day and Date, and it looks pretty cool. It's DC Supervillains. You'll be able to make your own supervillain and play through the tried-and-true LEGO format, which I think at this point is known to be very good, maybe not extraordinary, but you are going to get something that is probably pretty darn fun and will have co-op.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get when you purchase this game. There have been enough of these that you're not going to probably be surprised by what happens here, but it is a cool twist that you're going to be a villain this time around. At least that part of it is unique.
Yeah, and their open worlds are pretty cool. And the fact that you kind of get to make your own and that's who you play as, pretty fun. And of course, you'll be able to play as and switch and swap amongst all the other villains. They don't have a Joaquin Phoenix Joker, but they do have traditional Joker. So maybe save that for a DLC update. Also, just like a side note here, we didn't include it, but the LEGO Harry Potter collection is also coming to Switch on October 30th, if anyone is more magically inclined. But from there, the 16th has another big game, Gabe, and this one is Ubisoft doing its work on Switch. Starlink Battle for Atlas finally releases, $60, and it brings Star Fox, Wolf, Slippy, and co. along with it. I was surprised by this game at E3. I liked it a lot more than I expected. It does incorporate toys to life elements, and I thought they were pretty fun.
Yeah, the toys are probably going to be a little expensive if you want to get all of them. So, yeah, that's just one of the realities of Toy to Life. But the game that's there was surprisingly fun. Like you, I played it, and we're not going to comment on that. All right, Zach
had that footage.
Zach likes making fun of me just because we're at E3 and playing games, and I had the 360 controller in my hand recently, and then I went to Starlink, and the buttons being like, okay, whatever. Regardless, I didn't have the best showing of Starlink, but it is fun. I will say that. And the crossover with Star Fox, it's a reason to get this on Nintendo Switch instead of other platforms where it will be available. I'm actually low-key kind of excited about this.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, like you said, price prohibitive if you want to get everything. We don't need to get everything. I think the biggest concern with this game is going to be how does it play out over the entirety of an adventure, because it could get repetitive. The fact that you are, in the ship always, and the fact that the combat, you can mix it up with different weapons and different ships and different pilots, but it's pretty, standard, it seems like, across the board in terms of one mission may not be as different from the other, but I mean that's kind of the Toys of Life thing, so that encourages you to buy more and more. But yeah, that Star Fox pack is $75, and I think I'm going to pick it up just because they did enough to allure me. I think it's interesting. I think the concept's cool. Do I think it's going to do gangbusters? No, but it should add fun to the middle of the month.
Yep.
Speaking of fun, or maybe not fun for some people, or maybe frustration for those of us that wish it came out back in May, Dark Souls Remastered. Hey, what do you know? Finally releasing on October 19th, $39.99. You played in the network test, and apparently it runs well, which is good.
Yeah, the game itself isn't a problem. The only problem is, like, people have kind of moved on. I know that there's still some people that want it on the platform. You want to be able to take this thing with you on the go, and it played well in handheld, so hooray for all of that. It's just kind of lost all its luster. It's still a good game that can never be taken away from it. The experience is still going to be a good one, and like I said, the frame rate, visually, everything's on point. But yeah, maybe a little too late for me.
Yes. Are you going to pick it up? Are you interested in playing it?
I'm semi-interested in playing it. I don't know if it's like a day one.
There's just so much else around.
Yeah, because October's a big month for releases, and maybe Dark Souls is one that... Look, I've waited this long. Why not wait for a price drop? It's already not $60, but if eventually it gets down to maybe $30 or $20, then absolutely a must-own. But yeah, they made us wait this long. Maybe I'll make them wait now, Zach. I'm going to turn the tables here.
Yes. I'm instead going to be getting Jackbox Party Pack 5, which actually comes out 2 days earlier on the 17th, but that's where my money's going to go, so I will not be picking up Dark Souls Remastered. Jackbox, some of the best party games available on any platform, and really great on Switch. Party Pack 5 looks to be a superstar version, or at least that's the hope, because they are ditching many of the games that they have sequelized across the last couple packs. This one has totally different stuff, but it also has the return of You Don't Know Jack. So the classic game that they originated with, that they began with, returns here. You Don't Know Jack Full Stream is the main title. It leads the way for Party Pack 5. There's also Split the Room, Mad vs. City, Patently Stupid, not Patiently Stupid, and Zeeple Dome. And they're trying some different things, because Zeeple Dome is like the first game that's going to be very action heavy, as opposed to just like choose the answer and sort of more party game style. But Gabe, I know you're most excited for Mad vs. City because you channel your inner MC as a rap battling robot and have to write lyrics.
Oh yeah, you know I'm going to be fantastic at that. Zach, do you know how often I play Jackbox Party Pack?
I would guess 0 if I had to guess.
No. I play them semi-regularly with my friends. We get on
That's awesome.
on a Discord call, and we just... That's the magic of these games. You don't have to be near each other. All you need is a phone.
Right.
Or, a Chrome browser, since that's the new hot platform.
Right.
Yeah, I love Jackbox.
I will say, like, part of the reason I also kind of put this one out of order is because on Twitter they're saying it releases on the 17th, but then on their website they have like the 18th. Somewhere else I saw the 16th, so it's coming
somewhere
around there. Apparently, I guess I should have still put it before Dark Souls, but in case it gets moved a little, I don't know. It's somewhere around there. It's currently on sale for $24.89 on Steam, but it looks like it's going to be $30 everywhere else, including like Xbox and PlayStation. So it's not getting a Switch tax of any sort, just a Steam discount. But like that's going to be a super fun time. Every year I kind of am really excited for that, because it's like, hey, this is really fun to play with everybody, and two, it's like, okay, holiday time must be near, because they're putting this out for people to play with their loved or unloved ones. All right, we have one more game, Gabriel, and that's Windjammers Hidden on October 23rd. This is, if you played Disc Jam, this is like a side top-down version of that. It's actually the originator of this disc-throwing combat competitive sport, and it's freaking awesome. They're making Windjammers 2, which was like a huge shock and surprise. This game has a lot of fun lore if you ever were a Giant Bomb fan. Jeff Gerstmann and the Giant Bombcast crew have sort of touted their love for Windjammers for years and begged for it to return. And hey, not only is it returning, it's been back on like Vita and things like that. It's coming to Switch, and it's getting a sequel, so kind of a no-brainer to pick this one up if you like fun sports competitive titles.
And Zach, I do. I don't know that the sequel exists without Giant Bomb.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting case of like a few people with some influence just like really like kind of like wink, nudge, pushing their way.
Yeah, I was gonna
make
say
creative.
eventually it was a push. Yeah.
yeah. But it's very cool. The game's great. It's not gonna like hold a candle to Super Mario Party or whatever. But if you're looking for something like fun to play with other people, like it's super awesome. There's a bunch of other games on the smaller end coming out this month that just too many to talk about, and frankly, a lot of them probably won't be that exciting or that great. But I did want to each have us wrap this up with a weird one, Gabe. We went through the list, guys, and we found something weird. I'm going to go first this time. My weird game for the month is Crayola Scoot. Now, Crayola, you may know them as the beloved makers of your favorite colored crayons. They do great stuff over in the writing implement department, and I'm a big proponent of crayons. But this time, they're bringing almost like a Splatoon-ish inspired game. So it is like a skateboarding scooter game, but the more tricks you do, the better tricks you do. You're spreading your colored paint/ink around the maps and trying to cover as much as you can. Now, I have no idea if this game will be quality, but it does kind of remind me of a title like from back in the day, probably the era of like 2008, 2009, when sometimes you get a weird game like this that just ended up being like a fun under-the-radar gem. They typically come out on like DS, sometimes on like PlayStation or whatnot, but you get like these weird titles. And Gabe, the era I'm specifically thinking of is like, do you remember when the Sonic RPG came out on DS?
Oh, yeah.
Like that era where sometimes you just get like this weird game.
That was a BioWare game, wasn't it? Or
it was. So sometimes you just get something weird, and you're like, "Wow, this didn't even have any like right to exist," and yet it was like really, really good. So there's a slight chance that Crayola Scoot could be this. Probably unlikely, but a slight chance that Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood type title could be waiting for us in Crayola Scoot, at least in like the. Not the gameplay, but just like the vibe, the spirit.
All right, Zach, I'm going to keep us on this weird little train that you've put us on. Goosebumps is getting another movie. And to go along with the movie, we're going to get the old Goosebumps, not old, but for the original Goosebumps movie with Jack Black, there's a video game on that. That's coming to Nintendo Switch for probably $10 because that's what it costs on Steam. It has very positive reviews over there.
Somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit weird. You gotta solve puzzles, you gotta outsmart the monsters before it's too late, and it's also kind of like a visual novel with, like, puzzle elements. It's incredibly strange, but when Zach said, hey, we gotta pick one strange one, I couldn't think of very much else that was gonna be stranger than Goosebumps the game. Zach, I have a question for you. I've
never read Goosebumps.
Oh no, Zach! Many classics. Say cheese and die. Say cheese and die again. You remember those?
No.
Oh my God! Night of the Living Dummy. You remember that?
Here's the kind of kid I was, Gabe.
All right,
when the original Spider-Man movie came out, like the original, like Tobey Maguire, like this is like Spider-Man, Green Goblin.
Yeah.
When that movie came out, which had to be 2002. So
yeah.
I was 12. I was scared to go to that movie because I thought it might be too intense for me. So there's no freaking way I was.
By that point,
Goosebumps.
I was already like broken. Goosebumps might have been what broke me. I was gonna say by that point, I was already so desensitized to everything, and maybe we will blame the Goosebumps series for that. I read a ton of them. Here, let me see. There's like 62 in the mainline series. There was, of course, like some that are a little bit more like not adult, but just skewed towards like older teenagers. There's a lot there, but mainline series, if there's 62, I have to say I read at least 50 of them, probably.
Damn.
Yeah, like
I was reading the Mary-Kate and Ashley books. I was reading Boxcar Children. I was a little
never any Hank the Cowdog though, because Hank the Cowdog is something we've come back to for years.
I hate to burst your bubble, but Goosebumps the game is $30 on Switch, and in case you're marking your calendars for Crayola Scoot, that one is October 16th for $40.
Oh, that's expensive. It's way cheaper on Steam, guys.
If you need Goosebumps, maybe just go to your. Do they have libraries anymore? Is that a thing? Can you go to your local library?
I went to the library the other day. They're definitely still a thing. Support your local libraries.
Support your local libraries and support October. It's a pretty darn good month, and I think it starts off with a bang with Mega Man, Mario Party, and then moves on with some solid third-party stuff. Dark Souls, World Ends With You, Lego, Starlink, Lego again. Jackbox. So it should be a pretty good month. Obviously, we've got Pokemon waiting in the wings, so we're excited for that. But let us know what you're pumped for in October and what you are going to be spending your hard-earned cash, or maybe your parents' cash, on for this month. Let us know your picks in the comments down below. Also, let us know how many Goosebumps books you read. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and its games this month and every month. Stay tuned for coverage on most of these. You can follow us on Twitter and Discord if you want to stay up to date on what we've got coming and interact with a lot of other fun Goosebumps fans who also like Nintendo games. We are the best community on the internet for the Goosebumps Nintendo crossover community. Self-declared Goosebumps Nintendo community. Thanks, guys. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic month. Until next time, for myself and Gabe, Switch Force out.